Kia ora team, and welcome back to another episode of Sports and Other Stuff. I'm very excited to welcome our first jockey to Sports and Other Stuff today. She is the 2020-21 Jockey Premiership winner, has amassed more than 1,000 wins, has won 9 Group 1 races, and in the opinion of most, probably the premier jockey in the country. Unfortunately out with injury at the moment. But anyway, Danielle Johnson, how are you?
Hello, thank you for having me on. I mean, it's probably the least I can do. I don't have much to do at the moment except get checks from ACC.
First, I'm going to start with injuries. We'll come back to injuries first because last week, I think it was, I got a very nice text from you. Congratulations, you're engaged.
Yes, I know. Yep, Jamie got down on one knee at the beach. He must really love me because it was wet too.
I was very excited to be the first person you told too. Thank you for that.
Yes. Yeah, no one, my parents don't even know. So this is live info.
TAB exclusive, you reckon?
Yeah, you should see the money I'm getting for it.
Very nice. We will start with the injury. How is the leg?
My leg's great. I'm actually sort of, getting along well with my moon boot on. I missed my last appointment at the specialist, so I'll go in a couple of weeks' time, but it all feels really good. Probably like I'm a little while away off probably hopping on a horse because I have to get my plates out before then, which will be January 1, and then probably a couple of months after that. So you won't see me for a long time. Wow.
So not until next year until you get the plates out.
Yeah, that was sort of advised right from the start from the surgeon. I think just there's probably, if I had a fall with the plates in, there's probably more complications, whereas obviously the bone's going to snap, the plates are going to stay solid. So it's probably safer rather to not ride than to ride with them in.
Yeah, right. In terms of injuries you've had over your career, is this the worst?
For sure, yeah. I did my collarbone, I had a plate put in that, broke my hand, and also broke my wrist. So I've had a few injuries, but I'm like the bionic lady with my leg at the moment.
Ouch. I think the worst I've done is a broken hand, so you're...
Pity on you.
Yeah.
Ride a horse.
Yeah, I have ridden a horse before, and it's terrifying. It is absolutely terrifying. What do you do to fill the day when you're out injured as a jockey?
Yeah, so many people ask this. I can't say that I've achieved too much since I've been off, other than traveling around New Zealand. My arms got very good. This is like my champagne movement. Visiting friends, just catching up with people. And I suppose it's sort of been quite a fitting time for it to happen if it was going to ever happen, because obviously Jamie and I are going to Hong Kong, so it's given me a little bit of time to process everything and pack up the house and catch up with a lot of people.
Yeah, nice. I imagine being one of the premier jockeys in the country, you're still well immersed in the racing scene, and you still do you have a bit of input here and there and within different stables, or are you sort of completely out of it?
Not really. Like I've got right in front of me right now, I've got the races going at Waverley. So, I always take some part in it, and I always will follow, Stephen Marsh's stable closely, who I've had a big association with, and obviously Jamie at Tiako, who he's now finished there. So my life is racing. My mum trains horses. I'll never be able to stop watching it and get out of it. But I must say I have probably taken a little bit of a backward step. I haven't been watching as much racing. I've sort of just been getting on with life a little bit. And it's been fun. It's been, at this stage, I can't say that my heart is bleeding that I want to get back out riding. I've just been enjoying my time off, and, I've probably got I'm pretty open-minded in the sense that I've fallen off. I can't, hope to be out there, wish to be out there right now riding, Group 1 winners of horses that I've been riding in the past. So I'm, just living a good life, really.
Sounds like you're in a good spot then.
Not many females are, so I've been told.
I won't comment. Just thinking about when I was sort of putting this interview together and getting some ideas from people around the office, I was watching. I can't remember what it was, but I also had the races on, and there was a bit of action in the starting gates. So it got me thinking, like, at race time, what is it like in the stalls and the starting gates when you're in there on the horse? You're all lined up next to each other. It looks sometimes like it could be very scary.
Yeah.
A lot happening in there.
There's always a lot going on, a lot of yelling. I suppose everyone's just trying to get the best advantage of the start as they can. So, the person in stall one's horse could be being naughty, the person in stall 10 could be being quiet, and then it just changes around to be opposites right when the start is about to call. So, it's anxious times, but you've got your adrenaline pumping, and all you really want is to get the best start possible, and obviously to hope to have a horse that's quiet in the gates, really.
I imagine you're all pretty close, jockeys wise, or you all know each other pretty well. Is there a bit of shit talking and a bit of jostling between everyone?
Yeah, there's a few swear words that go around that my mother would probably wash my soap out if she heard them coming out of my mouth. But I mean, we all have so much respect for each other because we know what sort of sport we're out there doing. And I mean, I must say that, some of my best friends are jockeys. But yeah, we definitely have a few fights as well.
Any that you can share?
Probably not. Not if my mum's going to watch this.
That's fine. What about?
We do get over it, I must say. We are over it straight away.
Yeah,
you have to be.
I can imagine. Yeah, when you're facing off, 2, 3, 4 times a day. Yeah. What about a race plan? Do you sit down with the trainer and sort of go through that before each race, or is that mapped out in the week lead up, or how does that all work?
So once the fields come out, so you do nominations on the Tuesday, then the Wednesday the fields come out, and from there you can sort of work out your barrage or work out where the horses are going to race in the race, and just sort of go over their usual pattern of racing. So you try and have it sort of semi worked out before you get to the races, and then at the races you'll have a little look at the race book prior to the race, and then you'll go out and have a chat to the trainer. But I mean, you're riding a 500, 600 kilo horse. Things don't always work out the way it looks on paper, so you've got to be pretty optimistic.
Yeah. So what happens if it doesn't go to plan? You just sort of try and bounce back as quick as you can?
Well, if it turns to shit, you just walk straight past the trainer and hope they don't abuse you. It doesn't ever seem to be the race pattern's fault. It's always the jockey's fault.
Yeah. And not very nice, I can imagine.
No. I've had a few growlings. Alan Sharrock, I must say, has been one of the best. He's barred me a few times, but he keeps coming back.
Yeah, well, I could see why. Can you remember a time that you've won, sort of best win that you can remember when the original plan hasn't come to fruition? You've kind of had to adapt on the fly.
Oh God, there's been so many. I probably just can't pick out one particular race, but it's one of those things that you come in and the trainer goes, God, I knew that was going to be a good plan. Credit where credit's due, right?
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. What about the mentality after you've got 5, 6, 7, 8 races on a card? The mentality after a big win. For example, me and a few mates were at Trentham when you won the Bone Crusher on Avantage a couple of years ago.
Yes.
And it looked like you had the presentation, all the photos and everything, and then 5 minutes later, after all that's finished, you're back out on the next race and you come flying down the straight with a win. It's a pretty quick turnaround.
Yeah, that's an interesting day to bring up, and bringing up like mentality and how you handle things. I actually rode Brando in a Group 1, 2 races prior to that, and probably wasn't one of my best rides. He ran second. He probably should have won, and you just have to pull yourself together. You can't dwell on what should have been. And then 2 races later, I win a Group 1 on Avontage. So it's in the same respect that once you have a big race win, you've still got to go out on the maideners or the 65 rated horses and give it your all. And you're back to square one again until after the races where you can actually celebrate. But every race is an individual race, and you have to take it accordingly.
Yeah, you don't get that much time either between, right? So imagine after that, Group 1 when the adrenaline's pumping, you're up here. You've got to switch pretty quickly to get back to race mode.
You do, exactly, and that's every jockey just has to deal with that. And I mean, it would be nice after the Group 1s just to be able to finish and go out and have a good time, but we're professional athletes and you can't do that.
We were having a good time. It was
I'm glad you were. I heard you won some money that day. Would you like my account number?
We can talk afterwards.
Yeah.
Bit more on sort of life of a jockey. At the start of a season or even the end of a season, is that when you sort of sit down and plan out, or do you? I'm guessing you create some sort of plan or have some goals for the season.
Mm-hmm. So I have a manager, Kevin Booth. He's been my manager for like 12 years. So sort of at the start of every season, we'll plan, like the season that I won the premiership, we sat down and we said, okay, this is going to be our year. This is going to be the year that we ride everywhere. We get as many rides possible, as many wins possible, and ended up working out to be, perfect. Put in the Group 1s in there, just trying to get as many wins possible. So, when a plan and a goal works out like it did on the 2021 season, at the end of it, it's such a good reflection back on.
Yeah, very nice. And we'll get to those wins shortly, but 150 odd, it's pretty impressive in that season.
Yeah, it was an exciting season.
Do you put a number on it each year, or is it just, as many as possible? So
we said that season, and I mean, as the season went on and I was riding more and more winners, we did sort of cap it at 150. And then I do admit I went away for 2 months once I got to 150, and I was so far ahead of the other jockeys. I knew that I could afford to take a break and head away with Jamie to the Gold Coast and relax for a little bit leading into the next season. Whereas now I've got a broken leg, I probably should have kept riding.
Safety first.
Yeah.
So what does a typical week look like for a jockey?
So my week would be completely different to, say, someone like Michael McNabb, who struggles with his weight. I live probably a life just like you, probably minus the drinking. You drink, hey, I'm only kids. I'm not sure, but so I lead a pretty normal life. I try and get to the gym most days, track work 3-4 times a week, jump outs, trials, and we ride 3 to 4 times a week. So our weeks are, pretty filled up, but my week's filled up with eating, whereas, say, a jockey like Mike McNabb or Opie Boss and Lee Finnis, they're sweating most nights, not eating, dieting. So their structure to their week's completely different to a jockey like me.
Yeah, well, riding 3 or 4 times a week plus race, it's obviously Saturday's normally the big day, right?
Yeah, Saturday's the big day. Yeah, that's the day that everyone prepares for. And like, I wouldn't say every jockey would ride at every meeting. Someone like Opie, who struggles a lot with his weight, will probably just prepare himself for like the Wednesday, Saturdays and have trials on a Tuesday. And then you've got other jockeys that chase the central districts and then go to the South Island. So you can have a pretty full schedule if you really want one.
What's the travel like? Are you flying everywhere, or are you driving everywhere?
I try and fly most places. I mean, if you're going to the central districts, it's probably easier to drive because the flights are like you're trying to fly to Aussie, how much they cost you.
Yeah.
So it's no point in that. I hope Air New Zealand is listening to this. So yeah, we do a lot of driving, that's for sure.
Yeah, right. So my next question was what are typical days like, but I guess it changes depending on what you're doing. Track work, Saturdays, whatever. Let's say a Saturday. What does a typical big race day Saturday look like for you?
Saturday, that's dependent if I'm needed for track work in the morning. Otherwise, so track work, I'll get up. I'll probably only ride from 4:30 till 6 a.m. Go have a little rest, pack your bag, go over a bit of form, and then you're pretty much on your way to the races. And it's a full day from there on in.
Yeah, wow. And you're on track from early morning until...
It's a big day.
Yeah, one of the last ones to leave.
Yes, very, very big day. Wish we got paid hourly.
Lucky you're on plenty of winners.
Yeah.
Do you have any race day traditions or superstitions that you like to stick to?
Not too many. I'm a little bit strange about using new gear on a big day. Or I'll just like to, if I feel like I have a sure winner, I'll use the new gear with that, and then I'll feel like it's a lucky piece of equipment, pretty much. But and always stand on anything that's new.
Stand on anything that's new.
Yeah, I mean, it's been something that my dad taught me, that if you're putting it on the ground, standing on it, it's, I don't know, something's, better than you falling off and it touching the ground. I don't really know. I don't know the rhyme or reason, but I do it.
I like it. It's nice. Yeah. When you've got a sure thing, does the mentality change at all? I guess you head into it a bit more confidently, do you?
Yeah, and jockeys are really confident riders. Like, if you're having a bad run and not riding confidently, I feel like you ride bad. But if you're riding confidently, you're putting your horses and giving them every chance that they need. And if you've got people, like, if trainers are confident behind you, you've got more confidence. So yeah, for sure. I think if you're more confident in your horse, you're riding more confidently.
What about the other side of it? Say you're on an $81 outsider, but you're still riding confidently. Do you still, is it kind of like a let's go get him type situation?
This is where you need a very good mentality, because, if you're on a $80 shot or a $2.50 shot, the owner's still paying the same amount of money to have it in the stable. So you yourself as a professional need to give it every shot, even though it's probably out of its depth and shouldn't be in the field. So you just have to go ahead and give it your all.
Yeah, and we've seen plenty of $80 shots win.
Yes.
When they shouldn't too. Is it hard to switch off in your downtime? You obviously said at the start, at the moment you're not struggling at all to sort of step away, but week to week when you're racing or riding 3 or 4 days a week, is it hard to switch off?
No, as I said before, I'm very lucky. I've got, I don't know, it's just, I'm a day-to-day girl, and what will be, and I can switch off. I'm not a warrior whatsoever. I just get on with life, and what will be, will be.
Do you watch the Warriors? Do you like the Warriors?
No, because they always lose.
Oh, don't do us like that. I'll scratch that question.
Sorry, Cameron. Take that off.
What do you like to do outside of racing? I'm guessing friends, catch-ups, all of that.
Yeah. I don't have a sport. That's what I think. When I go to Hong Kong, I need to get into some sort of sport. But I've tried tennis with friends, and I'm terrible. Like, my hand-eye coordination it's one of a kind. I might as well just give up on that. I like to cook. I'm not a bad cook, but I need to probably find something I'm good at other than riding a horse.
Yeah. What is you mentioned earlier, you're at the gym most days a week. What does a gym session look like for a jockey? I can't imagine you're putting hundreds of kilos on a squat rack and doing squats until you can't walk.
No, I do like to go to a personal trainer, and they just make me up things, or F45. I must say I don't get that enthused about going to the gym. So if I had to go and run on a treadmill myself, it's probably not going to go down that well.
It's the best place to go and run. You just headphones on, don't even think about anything, and go. Love it.
I can just sit on the couch and not think about anything.
Fair play. Fair play. All right, we're going to get a bit more into your career. And I like to take it back to the start. I probably know the answer to this, but I'd like to hear it from you. How did it all start? How did you get into racing and ultimately become a jockey?
So mum and dad, well, dad was a jockey. I think most people know that, and mum's always been involved in horses. So I think it was just bred into me, really. I've always loved animals, especially horses. And yeah, right from when I could walk, we had a pony at home. Then I did show jumping around the ring. Always loved watching dad go to the races. He'd give me days off school to go watch him, and just everything about it was so cool when I was younger. Then started writing track work, and it just pretty much blossomed from there. And I mean, there's such a thrill that people like yourself or people outside of racing that you'd never get a thrill like we get on a day-to-day basis. Like, there's nothing like riding a winner. Riding a winner is like a medicine, it fixes everything.
Tell you what, kicking home a win is pretty good too.
Yeah.
What sort of age were you when you started doing track work?
So I was 15 when I started riding track work. I was doing it before school for a while, and then I ended up leaving school at 16, which I was very young. Mum and dad weren't too pleased about that at the point, but they did have me going to a private school that they were paying for, and I think they were probably quite relieved that they could take that money back for themselves.
I've got a couple of young girls at home, and they're both very interested in horses, and taken them to the races a few times, and they love it, absolutely love it. So big dreams from dad, get them into horse racing.
That's a good idea to be doing that. They'll want a pony next.
Yeah,
it's expensive.
We could do with the help with the backyard and the grass.
Yeah.
Given the influence your dad had on your career, how did it feel when you crossed the line for your 1000th win, and to join him in that elusive club in New Zealand?
Yeah, it was great. It was actually quite emotional. I'm not an emotional person whatsoever, by the way. Seeing the TV1 video clip that they did, and he was out at the farm, that was cool. And Dad's in the 1000 Club as well. Yeah. And it was so good that day. I remember it, just to get it done my first ride as well, because I had quite a few good rides that entire day. So to get the monkey off your back straight away, it was, it was awesome. What was
the mentality heading into that day? Obviously, you only got one to go. Was there a chance previous meeting?
I mean, I probably would have been pretty pissed off if I didn't do it that day. I think I was on like 5 favorites.
Yeah.
My attitude probably would have gone,
How much do you want to surpass your dad's record? I've got 1,370 wins in New Zealand here. Is that a goal?
Wow, this is the thing. I need to sit down and see what I'm actually doing with my career, to be fair. I mean, of course, it'd be nice to beat Dad. I don't know how many I'm on.
We'll get to that shortly.
Oh, you'll get to that. But yeah, and Dad's had so many overseas. So, I mean, I'm never going to pass him, really.
Yeah.
It'd be a lie if I passed him here, because he's passed me everywhere else.
Still hold it. Yeah, it's still better than. Outside of your mum and your dad, has there been anyone else who's had a big influence on your career?
I'd like to say Sir Peter Vella. He's always been a great ear, always asking for advice, and there's no one better than asking someone like Sir Peter, who's been in the racing industry for so long. I just I like to talk to other jockeys, ask them for advice. Obviously, some don't probably give you the truthful advice, send you in the wrong direction. But yeah, there's heaps of people that have helped me along the years. Russell Warwick. I was apprenticed to West Stud, and that's who Russell Warwick works for. So yeah, there's so many people that, if I start naming people, I'm going to miss someone out. But I think everyone knows who they are.
What about now, as one of the premier jockeys in the country? Do you get younger jockeys coming to you for advice and tips?
Yeah, when we're at the races, certainly people say, "Can you watch this and see what you think?" And one of my best friends, Courtney Barnes, is a jockey as well, so she always asks me what I think, and if I can help her in any way, I'm always happy to.
Nice. Do you keep track of your stats throughout your season or career?
So I don't know how many how many winners I've ridden, and I didn't actually know I'd ridden 9 Group 1s. I thought it was 8. Yeah. So
Happy to help.
thank you for this call.
All right. Well, I'll run through a few, and we'll see how many you can get.
Oh God, this is not going to be easy.
Do you know
9 Group 1s? I know that.
9 Group 1s? I'll tick that off.
Mhm.
Do you know how many starts you've had in your career? This is a
Oh,
lot.
shit. Can you give me what's the first number?
8.
8,750.
Very close. 8,848.
Oh, close.
It's a lot. Group or listed starts. Also starts with an 8.
I don't know.
828.
828. Wow. Okay.
So nine, just under 10% of your career has been group or listed races.
Well, that's
which is a lot. There's yeah. So you don't know how many wins you've got. It obviously starts. It's in the
obviously 1,000 and something.
1,083.
1,083. Yeah. Should I need to make that even? Don't I?
You do, or at least get to the 5.
Yes.
That's a half. It's a real one.
I'll be back next week, guys.
Another TAB exclusive.
Yeah.
There's you said you need to sort of sit down and assess your career. I guess given you're going to Hong Kong, then you're not back at least until January in terms of riding. Does Chris Johnson's 2,488 interest you at all?
I would be probably 90 by the time I cross that. So absolutely not. Jesus. No, that doesn't has have much appeal on me, but well done to him, and he's had an amazing career, but I don't plan on riding that long. Yes, with Hong Kong. So I haven't even really talked about it, just sort of getting through my leg and that sort of thing. But now Jamie's put the old ring on my finger. I think he's trying to tie me down. No, all jokes aside, but yeah, I mean, probably where our life is going at the moment, it's going to Hong Kong, and we both want to give it 100%, and I want to be there every part of the way to support Jamie and give him as much help as I can. So I don't know whether there's time for me to be coming back here and riding in New Zealand. I'm not sure. It's probably just need to talk about it, and probably my my life with riding's in limbo a little bit. I've still got my riding gear though. I haven't sold that yet.
That's good. That's good. I was going to ask this later, but I'll ask now, given we're talking about it. Is there any aspirations? Doesn't sound like you've thought about it too hard, but to ride in Hong Kong?
Jamie and I, well, we just sort of, and passing, we sort of talked about it a little bit, but I don't think for a couple that there's room for a trainer jockey up in Hong Kong like that. I don't think it would ever work. It's just a different part of the world, and so definitely not.
Okay, there's a real TAB exclusive. Okay, so you've had 1,083 wins. Places, any idea?
Well, it's over 1,000, clearly.
It is.
Does it start with a 3? 6. Jesus. God, I suck. How many seconds did I have?
Oh, you're really good.
6,200?
No, sorry, 1,600.
Sorry, I'm sorry, that was really bad math.
I know what you meant.
I'm a jockey.
I know what you meant. Yeah, nearly 1,700 places to go with your 1,000 wins. So you've had the 9 Group 1 wins, 25 places in Group 1, so a lot of nearlies.
That's a lot, yeah. That is a lot.
17 Group 2 wins with 33 places. 32 Group 3 wins with 36 places. and listed races 29 and 54 places.
Wow. Okay. Those some good stats.
Pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I can share this document with you afterwards if you
Yeah,
like.
yeah, you can. That'd be great. I'll be able to show people so I know.
Do you can you remember who your first ever runner was? Your first ever ride was, and when?
Diamonds in the rough.
I hope you're wrong because that's not what I've got.
What do you? My first winner or ride?
Ride.
Was it Pukekohe?
Could have been. It was in 2007 in April. I've got Anita Mojito.
Oh, I could be wrong. You're probably right.
The website I've used could be wrong.
I can't even remember that horse.
I've got your first winner a week later.
The Sportsman.
The Sportsman, yes.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, that day because Russell Warwick told my parents that they should definitely be there, so they'd set it up for me.
Oh, nice. One of those sure things.
Yes. Yeah.
Very nice. What about the group one winners?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my first question here was, do you remember them all? And obviously you don't if you said 8.
Yeah. Okay. Shuka twice.
Yep.
Avantage 4 times.
Yep.
Peter Mackay trained horse called Puccini.
Yep.
And Trelawney stud to elicit.
And Sauvignon Blanc.
Oh, sorry, yes, Sauvignon Blanc, yes.
Yep.
Yeah. You can see I'm bad at maths.
Do you remember all the rides?
Yeah, pretty much actually.
What's the favourite?
I remember Puccini. Puccini used to pull quite hard, and I was still quite young when I got put on him. And I remember at one point I was just bolting up the inside, and it was like no class ride or whatsoever. I was just going places because I could not stop the horse, and they just dashed through the inside of them, and he just sprinted away.
Very nice. Is that the favourite?
No, I wouldn't say it's favourite because that was probably just one of it was just better horse that won. It wasn't anything to do with me. I mean, you always remember your first Group 1, but I'd say Avantage probably. Like her Group 1, she was such a phenomenal racehorse.
Yeah.
I'll never forget her.
Yeah, so 4 on Avantage. The first, I think, in the
Size
Produce Stakes, which is actually on this weekend.
Yes.
Dynastic favourite there. Do you think he can get it done?
Oh, I like the look of Wolverine.
It's the second time I've heard that today.
Is it? Okay. Well,
there you go, punters.
There we go. Go Wolverine. She's a superstar. I rode her a few times, so I have a bit of a soft spot for her.
Yeah. Nice. We've talked a lot about mindset and mentality. Does it change at all heading into a Group 1 rather than just your standard, I don't know, same or whatever?
I like to say it doesn't, but I think if you're on a favourite for a Group 1, like would have gone out and ridden Avantage, it's just probably a different feeling in your body. But you need to treat every race like it's a Group 1, because as I said before, that everyone pays the same amount of money to have their horses in training. And, obviously some horses aren't good enough to get to Group 1 status. So a maiden win for some owners is just as good as a Group 1 win for other owners. But I'd be lying if I said that I felt, no difference between a maiden and a Group 1 was I was on a favourite.
What with Avantage, what was it like going up? Well, I presume you rode here against Melody Bell as well.
Oh yes, every time.
Yeah, what was that like? One of the great sort of head-to-head rivalries in New Zealand racing.
You know what? It was actually heartbreaking a couple of those times because Avantage and I would just level outside of Melody Bell and think that you're going to go straight past her, and she was just so determined. Oh my God, my voice. Anyway, I haven't even been drinking. Melody Bell. She was so determined to win that it was, always just so hard to get past her. But yeah, I felt deflated a few times after those seconds.
Do you see any sort of great rivalry like that in the works around the tracks here in New Zealand at the moment?
Coming up at the moment.
Yeah.
And the hardest thing with, like obviously Tiakau had, some of the best, open class horses and they've sort of lost them in the recent years. So, always watching Melody Bell and Avontage compete against each other was such a great head to head with each other. I don't know if I see sort of that at this stage, but I'm sure once these younger horses, get to 4 or 5, that you're going to see a lot more of that. You've just got to wait for the horses to come through the grades again, and then you're going to get those better class of horses, aren't you?
Maybe Wolverine Dynastic could be the start.
Hey, that could be it on Saturday.
Yeah.
Yep.
One more about the Group 1s. Now I've gone. Any winners you rode, any of those Group 1 wins you rode, was there, coming down the straight, you thought you had no chance? Or even at the jump?
That's a hard one, actually. I always found Shuka, and Shuka was years ago, like when I was an apprentice, that he sort of never seemed that interested right from the start of the race. He'd sort of float around and flop around the corner again, and then he'd just get into gear the last bit. So I'd say a horse like him, and he probably actually had me on board, that he was probably thinking, oh my God, this girl cannot ride, so I'll just do what I want to do. But I always remember him being like that. But the likes of Avontage and Savion Blanc, they always travelled well throughout the races, and the same with the day I rode to Alyssa, once I hit sort of the 700, I was like, I am home for all money. So lucky I didn't home myself.
That must be a nice feeling.
Yes.
For everyone on to Alyssa too.
And when you've drawn, so I knew I drew an awkward gate on her, and she was always a bit tardy out of the barriers, and I ended up like midfield, one off, sitting outside Opie, who was maybe on the favourite. And just when you know that you've got your position so early in the race and what type of horse you have underneath you, it definitely builds your confidence.
What's it like coming down the straight? When you're all jostling for positions, is it similar to the start where there's a lot of yelling and abuse, or are you just so focused and trying to find your spot to get across the line?
I mean, at the start of the race, there's probably a little bit more yelling because people are, trying to slot in on other people's positions. Whereas in the straight, everyone's just going gangbusters and probably pushing people more so out of the way than yelling to say, I'm still here in your way. I don't think there's as much people caring at the end of the race when you're going to win to move someone out of the way. Although I shouldn't let the stewards hear me say that. I have had a lot of suspensions. That's one stat you didn't bring up, which is good. I don't even know how you find that.
I can dig deep, and I'll put it in the sheet before I share it with you.
I was very good at getting suspended, but it means you try hard, is what I always say.
Yeah, you want it. You want it more.
Yeah, out of my way, please. Goodbye.
Yeah. Your last race before your fall was Rockin' Horse, which went on to win the Group 1, the Newmarket, earlier this month. Mm. Did you think Rockin' Horse was capable of that?
Wow, so this is Sam Williams and I still talk about this to this day. That would have been one of my worst rides I've ever ridden. At least I can openly say that. God, it was bad. It was so bad. I gave the horse no chance whatsoever. So, yeah, I mean, heading against the Australian sprinters, but, people have always questioned whether our sprinters are as good as theirs, but obviously we've gone out and beaten them. So we can say that we're very competitive over there.
Yeah, and actually we had a punter had a $12 trifecta on that race.
The one that I rode bad?
No, sorry, the Rockin' Horses Group 1 win.
Oh, yes.
$12 to return, touch under $13,000. Had Rockin' Horse first, field. So a very big win there.
It's a very nice collect.
Yeah, and running again this week, I believe.
Yes, she is. I saw Pam on TV this morning talking about her. Yeah, so good luck to the team.
Just trying to find. No, it's not working. I'll try and find some odds. Oh, yeah, 260. That's for a top 4. $14 for the win. Randwick, race 8.
Not as much as last time.
No. Big race, that one.
Good luck to them.
Yes, definitely. So my next question we've already touched on. I've said what's next for Danielle Johnson, but obviously you guys are going to Hong Kong. When are you expected to head across?
So COVID's quite bad over there, and the rules and regulations about getting in there are quite hard. So Jamie heads up the May the 11th, and then he has to go up and apply for my visa. So he has to sponsor me. I can't just go up on a visitor's visa at this stage. So maybe June.
Yeah, right.
Still a wee while away.
Yeah. And what's the plan for you between now and then? Just hang out and repair the leg?
Yes, hang out and do what I've been doing for the last 2.5 months. Sweet bugger all.
Yeah. Nice.
No, I will do something. I'll let you know what I do when I do it.
Yeah. Alrighty. Won't keep you too much longer, Danielle. I've got a few sort of quick fire questions here.
God, these scare me.
No, there's nothing.
My palms are sweating.
Favorite track to race at in New Zealand?
Ellerslie. Yeah,
Nice.
do love Ellerslie. I think it's I love the track there, but also love the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Nothing better than on a Crack Millions night riding there.
Am I right in saying we won't see Ellerslie for a little while?
Oh, they announced that it's going to Pukekohe next year. Yeah.
While they upgrade, so be nice to see it once it's back.
Good initiative what they're doing, helping racing, which is what it needs.
Yeah. Is there any track around the world that you really want to ride at one day?
So I was heading, before I fell off, I was heading to Saudi Arabia. So it's been amazing to go and ride over there. But obviously missed that trip.
Yeah, right. How was that for a particular meeting or a stretch of?
It was just one meeting to ride at. It was the big international meeting up there, the Saudi Cup. So I was meant to go. Sam Collar ended up doing it. I think it was a month ago. So if I had to say a track, it was going to be that one.
Your favorite ride so far?
Favorite horse?
Yeah, or just win? Let's go both, horse and win.
Well, I mean, the most monetary race I've won is the Cracker Millions. A Zeong Thing, that's how you say it. Yeah, so it's something like that. I'd say he's a horse that always sticks in my mind, just because the Cracker Millions, there's so much hype around it. Other than that, maybe probably Tualisa and Avantage at Te Rapa, because most of my Group 1s have actually been in the central districts. So yeah, those two at Te Rapa, because I am based up in the North Island.
Yeah, nice. Just on Ellerslie and the Karaka Millions, what's it like coming down the straight? Can you hear, you got all the BGP boys in the stands. Can you hear them?
No, you sort of block it out in the race, but as soon as you pull up, you can hear them chanting everyone's name. I sort of never got my name chanted, actually. They didn't make one up for me.
Yeah, we'll have to work on that.
Yeah, I'll come in the stands with him.
Similar to the previous, is there a horse going around at the moment that you haven't ridden that you would like to?
I haven't ridden that I would like to. Keep asking me another question. I'll think about that.
Okay. Who's the biggest pest or joker in the locker room?
Oh, Matt Cameron. Even though he's in the boys' jockeys room, but I'd spend a lot of time in there. So I'd say definitely Matt Cameron.
Okay. Who's a jockey that you're always sort of watching over your shoulder for, and you're right, or someone you're nervous to race against?
Oh, wow! I'm not nervous about anyone.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like jockeys to follow. If you can get on the back of a good jockey, that can make up links in a race. You always know Leith when he's in the black and yellow colours of Brendan Lindsay's that he's always going to find you a run. So that's a good tip for jockeys. If you ever want to follow Leith, get on then.
Oh, nice.
Letting all the secrets out.
This is good for young prospective jockeys. They
Yeah.
learn the ropes.
So yeah, no, certainly if you need to follow someone, follow a good jockey in a race because they will find you a run.
Nice.
But otherwise scared? No, I don't think we should be scared of jockeys. That wouldn't be a good start going out into a race. But there are certainly like jockeys that are harder to ride against, that hold you in, that give you no room. Yeah.
Are you one of them?
I think so, yes.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
I'm pretty
Because you want it. Because you want it more.
Yeah.
Favorite sport outside of racing?
Favorite sport outside of racing, obviously watching the All Blacks. New Zealand. Go New Zealand.
Yeah. If you weren't a jockey, what would you be doing?
Wow. Real estate agent.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Do like it. Love property.
Nice.
Love seeing what they're worth, seeing how the market's going. My dad and I just actually bought a dairy farm, a 250-acre dairy farm. So yeah, we're getting into the land now.
Not going to farm it yourself?
No. We have a share milker on it. So, but I eventually one day would like to buy our own cows, but we just have to wait till the kitty builds up a little bit now.
Yeah. Nice. Good time to get into the property market, I've been told.
Yes, it's dropped a little.
Country. What's it like around the dinner table with Jamie if
we've had a bad day?
Or you're on someone else's horse and you've beaten him, or he's beaten you, vice versa?
I mean, I suppose you just have to get on with that. Probably a little bit of no talking sometimes. Very short questions and answers.
Yeah.
That's how it is. But no, we're pretty good. I mean, you've got to learn to lose, don't you? Because
Yes.
you do a lot of that in racing.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. Back to
the horse.
Yeah.
Oh my God. No, I can't think of one. I actually cannot think of a horse. Every horse's name has come out of my head.
You've ridden them all.
Yeah. No, I actually can't. I've just lost. I've been talking too much. Just gone. Blank.
All right. That's all right. One final question before we let go. Any advice for any sort of up-and-coming jockeys listening?
Up-and-coming jockeys. Ooh. This is, I don't know if it's, I think it's, it is racing related. Surround yourself by good people. That's what you need to do in racing. Because there, in every sport there are bad people out there, but if you surround yourself by good people, you will strive to be better. That's my bit of advice.
Nice. I like it.
Quite good, isn't it?
It does. It works in every aspect of life, I think.
Yeah. Look at me go.
Yeah. Very smart.
I could count people.
All right, Danielle, we will leave it there. Thank you very much for your time given to us here at Sports and Other Stuff, brought to you by the TAB. Really appreciate it. All the best to you and Jamie up in Hong Kong. Hope you really enjoy yourself. And I guess on behalf of all the punters, we really hope to see you back in the saddle sometime once those plates are out.
I'll keep you guys posted, but we should do something when we're up in Hong Kong. That'd be cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Check out what's going on. Yeah.
Yep. Awesome. Sounds great. Thank you very much.